Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new week, a week which we start with a Celtic transfer talk for you and a surprise edition of Celtic transfer talk because we have a new name that's entered the fold for Celtic this summer. Could we be set to make our 7th signing of this transfer window with a name that has only been linked with us for the first time over these past 12 or so hours? Aye, let's talk about that. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. We're around 10 subscribers away from 51,000. Thank you so much. We're about to cross over to the next milestone, so get down there, hit all those buttons. It's absolutely free. And we start off the week with an edition of Celtic Transfer Talk, which potentially suggests that Celtic are set to make their next signing of the window. One that looks promising. You've probably seen the headlines by now, but Celtic have been linked with a young Serbian international who is very high on the radar of clubs across Europe, being touted as one of Serbia's next big things. Celtic and Rangers both being linked with the player. These were the sorts of headlines that are going around the tabloids, the outlets and everywhere this morning, that both Celtic and Rangers are interested in Serbia youth Bačanin. Now, this was 2 hours ago at time of recording, so around 10 o'clock this morning on bbc.co.uk, that Celtic and Rangers are among the clubs who have called to express their interest in Serbia youth midfielder Andrej Bačanin. This comes from Čukarički sporting director Vladimir Matjasevic, which is the club that he currently plays for. This is first-hand information from the chief executive officer of FC or FK Čukarički, I should say, and it seems like he has confirmed he will leave the club. Celtic seem to be the team that's leading the way. Here's the words of that CEO that we're talking about. He said there is a lot of interest in our young players and the current focus is on the transfer of Andrej Bačanin. He attracted the attention of numerous clubs with his performances for our team last season, as well as the Serbian national team at his age. We've had calls from Scottish giants Celtic and Rangers, Ajax and Udinese, and some other teams are interested. It is possible that other options will emerge, and I expect the transfer to be completed in the next 10 days. So Celtic aren't the only team interested. Our neighbours are one of the sides touted. Ajax, big club obviously in the continent, and a few others as well. However, 10 days is the time frame being given, and it seems like Celtic are leading the way if social media is anything to go by. Because the Serbian youngster has followed Celtic on Instagram. Out of all of these clubs, Celtic, Rangers, Ajax, Udinese and others, Celtic is the only one he seems to have followed on his personal social media account, which would maybe point out that Celtic have got the upper hand, they've got the leg up their opposition in trying to lure Andrej Bačanin to the club. This is something that is very, very new, something very fresh, a player that I don't think any of us heard of before this morning when we all woke up. And it looks as though he could be on his way here. Now, I don't like to take a player following a club on Instagram as gospel, but it might suggest that after these apparent phone calls with the club, that he's chosen his ideal destination, and that's the green side of Glasgow. So, who even is Andrej Bačanin? That is the big question. People wondering who he is, why he's coming to Celtic, why we've identified him, and all those typical questions that come up when you're linked with an unknown quantity of a player. Well, he's a young Serbian defensive midfielder playing over 30 games for his club of Čukarički last season throughout the youth leagues and senior appearances. He is being touted as one of Serbia's next big talents, capped numerous times for the unders levels at Serbia, in Serbia I should say, and now of course being looked at by all these big clubs. People will be quick to label it as a project signing, but if you have the likes of Celtic, Rangers, Ajax and other major clubs across Europe looking at you, they're looking at you for a reason, and people have been crying out for a defensive midfielder, especially looking forward to when Callum McGregor might hang up his boots and call it a day. Could this be the natural heir to the Callum McGregor throne? Because the stats and the videos of what I've seen of the player so far actually reminds me a lot of how Callum McGregor plays. If you want to do some more informed reading on the player for yourselves, then I will give a massive shout out to this page on Twitter, Hit the Byline, which put together a very good package on the player himself, saying that he's set to leave FK Čukarički, with Celtic being the favourites to land his signature. Featured 17 times for the senior team, and could be a very good player to learn from Callum McGregor. Great vision and reading of the game, and is very advanced for someone at only 18 years old. If you're into your stats and your analysis, you can read here about how he's percentiles rank and his pass percentages and accuracies and yada yada yada. Looks like a very talented player for his age, put it that way, and it would be good future proofing for Callum McGregor's situation as he gets into his elder years. Sorry to make you sound old, Callum, you know what it's like. So this is one to certainly keep an eye out for over the next 10 days, with the fact that the chief executive has came out and said, oh, well, he is off. There was a very interesting line in one of the Daily Record articles surrounding Bačanin, saying that he ranks very similarly to Lennon Miller in a lot of key stat categories, if you are, once again, a stats guy. So we could be looking for someone in a similar mould to Miller here that we have a better chance of signing. So yeah, we'll watch and see what happens with it, but it's looking very, very likely that he's on his way to Celtic out of nowhere. Now, yesterday we spoke about the links that have resurfaced surrounding Daizen Maeda and a potential move down south to England. Now, we covered that quite extensively in yesterday's video, so if you haven't seen it, I will point you in that direction. But today we've had Andrej Bačanin speaking publicly about that situation and how he's desperate for Daizen to stay with the club. This was what Andrej Bačanin said in the media, saying hopefully he stays. He's an amazing player, and he also is really good for us in the dressing room too. He's a lovely guy, so hopefully he will stay. You never know what's going on. He would be fantastic for us next year, and yeah, he's an amazing person that is really helping us in every aspect of the game. So Andrej Bačanin's making it perfectly clear he doesn't want Maeda to leave. I know that's a bit Captain Obvious. No, you want him to stay, but when these sorts of things get said, I always get a little bit sceptical. It shows that this is very much something to be worried about. This isn't nonsense. This isn't something that's just creeping up in the internet. It's something that exists within the Celtic dressing room. There is an interest that is known for Daizen Maeda. So I wouldn't count your chickens just yet for him staying or for leaving. It seems like there's going to be a long way to go if Celtic can convince him to stay, or the teammates can convince him to stay. I just hope that we end this window with Daizen Maeda still a part of Celtic. He would be so difficult to replace, and hopefully Andrej Bačanin's words go a long way. And on that note, if Daizen Maeda were to leave, where's his replacement? Where is Andrej Balikwisha, the left winger who has been linked with Celtic for well over a year now, but in particular this last month? He's meant to be here. You know, for a month we've been told the deal is close, that all things have been worked out, the player is pushing for a move, and yet still no sign of him. No flights to Glasgow, no medicals at Ross Hall. We are waiting impatiently for Andrej Balikwisha. However, quotes that have surfaced over the past 24 hours might be the closest indication for a while as to when we could expect him. So if I will return your attention to this Daily Record article, which took some quotes from Antwerp's manager Stef Wills, who admitted it's possible he could leave imminently. So he was asked in the Belgian press if the sale of Balikwisha is on the cards imminently, and he said that is possible. Yes, I'm just working with the guys who are here at the moment. They all have the qualities to play here, so it would be foolish not to use them. That's code for Balikwisha is leaving, but I'm still working with him until he leaves. Now the big question is, when will he leave? Because we need him in. We're taking far too long, and I know it's apparently down to Celtic and they're negotiating between Antwerp for a price, but my God almighty, get the deal done, for goodness sake. I've been so excited for Balikwisha to sign for Celtic. At this point, I'm not excited anymore. I'm actually fed up and tired, to be quite honest, but that's probably the best update we've had in a number of weeks. It looks as though it could be imminent if Celtic just get the finger out. Right, that does it for today. A bit of a transfer update that will probably change rapidly over these next 24 hours or so. So I better hurry up and get this uploaded. If you've enjoyed, hit like and subscribe. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time.